Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Am I the a-hole for calling my fiance an embarrassment? I've been seeing my fiance for 4 years now, and I came into the relationship with two sons. My boys are now 12 and 9 years of age. Once a year, me and the boys go to my family's vacation home with the entire family. And up until this year, my fiance did not attend. But now that we are engaged and merging families, the family asked me to bring him along. I complied. I told him during vacation, we do not keep a schedule for going to bed for my sons. So they are allowed to stay up as late as necessary during the family vacation. We do a lot of night activities such as night swimming in the pool, karaoke, fireside chats, nightly strolls through the neighborhood, etc., etc. So during this week, my kids absolutely do not have a bedtime, and this is how it has always been. I made it crystal clear that bedtime was not to be enforced like it was at home, because this is a vacation and time to enjoy with my family, and I'm not making my kids miss out on the nightly activities. I also explained that due to this, some nights they are up until easily 11 p.m. or midnight, and it is a once a year occurrence, and it's no big deal. So he was fully aware. And please note that this is the only time I've seen this side of him that I will mention below. We get here the first night, and you can tell my fiance is already uncomfortable with the boys staying up past their bedtime. He was stressing out because the boys were still in the pool at 10 p.m. and he felt they should be in bed already. I gently reminded him that we were not enforcing a bedtime while we are here on vacation. So that first night, he let it go. The second night, 9 p.m. rolls around, and the boys were still up, and my fiance was dropping comments like, "You're lucky you're even still awake right now. You should already be in bed." Saying it right in front of my mom, who looked mortified, and he had such an attitude. I told him to cut the in private. He tells me he thinks it's up, that it's going to be terrible trying to get them back on track. But remember, we do this every year, and it's never been an issue in the past. I stood firm and told him to knock it off and to let it go. The last night rolls around. My fiance starts angrily sighing every single time he looks at my kids, still awake. And I finally pulled him aside and told him he was a because he keeps saying these comments in front of my family, which leads to awkward silences and judgmental glances toward me. I warned him prior to coming here, and if he had an issue that he can't control for a week, that he needs to leave because he's ruining our trip with his passive aggressive BS surrounding a bedtime. He told me I'm an a-hole for making him feel like garbage over wanting to keep the kids on a schedule because it's past their bedtime. Am I an a-hole? We've talked about parenting before on these segments. And as I mentioned, we all parent differently. And based on this story, I'm not even sure if he even has children. You said that you were merging families. I don't know if that means you're merging your family with him only, or are there other children that will also be merging into this situation. You told him beforehand that during vacation, which is 1 week only, you do not enforce a bedtime for your boys. That should have been it. He should not have had anything to say, period, about the boys going to bed at their normal bedtimes. For him to behave as such, 1, on vacation, 2, in front of your parents, was ridiculous and disrespectful to you, particularly because you had already told him that the children do not have a curfew or bedtime on vacation. What's so hard to understand about that? You pulled him to the side respectfully and said, listen, cut it out. Don't do this. We talked about it before. There is no need to act like this. The children are fine. I don't have a problem with them not getting up or getting back on track after vacation. So please, for the love of God, zip it up. What this shows me is that he does not respect you. He does not respect your boundaries. He doesn't care if he acts up in front of your family. That's a huge red flag for me. You have 0 times to disrespect me, and disrespect me in front of my family is going to be an immediate no. You don't have the right to disrespect your fiance at any time. I don't care what the situation is. If you don't like something and you don't feel like you can live with it long term, evacuate. If you don't like something, you don't have to deal with it. If you think that she can't parent her child properly, that doesn't mean that you get to step in and trump what she said. That's not how any of this works. Especially if she had already conversed with you prior to the situation. But let's see what Reddit has to say about this. He has an opinion that differs from yours. He doesn't have to agree with you, but he does have to respect your decisions regarding your children. He doesn't respect you and can't control himself. He made a fool of himself and openly showed his disdain to your entire family. Please rethink your relationships. Things may have been smooth in the past because a situation where you disagree has likely never been an issue. Absolutely. When the rubber meets the road, people will absolutely show their true colors over time. That's why it's important to get to know people. I'll never deviate from that. You have to get to know people. You don't know how people act when you marry because you're not married to him, so you really don't know. You don't know how people act when money is an issue. You don't know how people act when children are an issue. You just don't know until you get to that point in your relationship. That's why it's very important for us to be conscientious and respectful at all times. Disrespect will never be tolerated. I don't disagree with my husband in front of my kids or his kid or anyone when it comes to rules, especially those specifically discussed prior to doing something. That's what makes this even worse to me, is that this was pre-discussed, but yet he still decided to act a complete fool in front of your parents on your family retreat. So no, you are not the a-hole, but your fiance is the a-hole, and you should really seriously think about moving forward with this marriage, because I can tell you right now, based on his behavior, he's disrespectful, and he will absolutely ruin your children's life as they move forward. So no, you are not the a-hole, but your fiance is.